Hey, this is Mark Helfman with an emergency Bitcoin update. It's coming up to that 150-day moving average that I've talked about in my plan my newsletter, Crypto is Easy. If you're not subscribed to that newsletter, click the link in the video description and check it out. This is a short video for everybody. I'll also have a private video for paid subscribers only, and I'll have that out within the next few days. But I wanted to get this out there now. People are starting to get excited about Bitcoin, at least on YouTube, on Twitter. We've been going up. We had a big crash. Now we're going back up, and that's good. Happy to see that. But I also wanted to throw some things at you. Just keep in mind a little bit of the bigger picture and some of the things that I see. Um, so, um, so first of all, we capitulated back here in March, right? And that's when I say capitulated, that means people just gave up. They threw in the towel. They sold out, and when they sold at ridiculous prices. And the good thing is it got bought back up. And when you look and see what happened with the actual Bitcoins, how they moved around the network, you can see that they flowed into the hands of whales and OGs and also new wallets. And we know this because there's a lot of data analysis. There were 4 different reports that I read that broke down what happened. Each provided a little bit of a clue. And I've talked about that in previous videos. I wrote about that for people who are subscribed to the newsletter. You should be well aware of exactly what we know happened right around this time, that March period. Um, but one of the things that I really like looking at is the HODL waves. Very, very complicated, but the HODL waves show people are still holding strong. What you want to see is you want to see Bitcoins moving from people. Uh, you want to see the bands moving bigger and bigger as you get further and further up on the chart. That signifies that more Bitcoins are being HODLed. Um, and we see that's what's happening right now at this moment. I won't get too much more into the HODL waves. It's really complicated. It's very confusing, and you can't just look at the chart and say and make any comparisons just by looking at this chart here. You really have to look at what's going on with price and kind of correlate that with, okay, for example, so somebody who bought, um, a year ago, between 1 and 2 years ago, they haven't moved their Bitcoin, they're still holding it. Well, what was happening to the price during that time? What were some of the other events going on during that time? And then you look back, and as you move back from this point, and you're trying to compare in the previous history, you can't just go back and compare, okay, well, this is how it was on April 13, 2020. This is how it was in October 27, 2016. This is how it was in October. You can't make it that simple. You have to look at what's going on with price during the time period relative to the date you're looking at. I don't need to get into it here. The point is, the HODL waves show strength. They show Bitcoin moving from new wallets to older wallets, while the OGs and those whales, they stay strong. You don't see the whales on the HODL waves. There are some other metrics, but it's very, very clear that what we have right now is a very healthy, strong um, investment and belief among people who own Bitcoin. And that's highly correlated with price going up. Highly correlated with price going up, which is good. But just keep in mind, I'm going to get back to the chart here. Just keep in mind, miners are still holding Bitcoin that's going to be useless to them after the halving. Because if they want to stay in business, they'll need local currency to pay for the things they need to run their mining farms. And if they go out of business, they won't need their Bitcoin anymore. They're not going to get any more Bitcoin. They're going to need to eat something, right? And they're going to sell. So, so we'll almost certainly see selling pressure soon. We saw this in the previous halving. We saw this in the halving before that. Both previous halvings, we saw selling pressure. Prices did not go up through the halving. In fact, it took months before prices went up. That doesn't mean anything for now. Those were 2 independent events. They happened way in the past in a totally different situation. So you can't compare those. I personally, everything I look at takes into account anything that happens with the mining community anyway, so I don't worry about the halving at all. It doesn't factor into my analysis. Um, but I bring that up to say that miners are going to look and say, some miners are going to look and say, there's no way I can compete after the halving and my rewards are cut in half. I'm going to sell the best price I can get right now. I'm going to sell, I'm going to cash out and exit. So you have that on top of a bunch of hodlers who are sitting in profit. Some of these guys have doubled their money. So they're sitting in profit. They don't have as much of an incentive to hodl right now. And at the same time, once we get above here, once we get above this line, the whole mindset of the cryptocurrency community will start to shift. And I've talked about that in previous videos too. If you're not subscribed to Crypto is Easy, subscribe now, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So you're going to have this sort of a FOMO building the higher and higher we go from here. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go there. I'm just saying if we see that, there's going to be more and more people getting really excited and FOMO in. So this creates just all the really perfect conditions for miners and OGs to sell. Not to sell out necessarily, although the miners will probably sell out, but they're going to sell. Now, I'm not making predictions. I don't make predictions, but I've been warning you guys about a drop. I'm confident we'll see a drop. The question is at what price it starts and where it ends at. The question is whether we blast through this 150-day moving average and just go, and let me zoom out a little bit, right? And just start going up, up, maybe up here, maybe when we go higher, we go, right? Obviously, it's not going to go straight up, but you get my point. Or are we going to crash from here and go, see, we're already tapering off a little bit and go back down somewhere? You know, we don't know. Either way would really mesh really well with that other time period I was telling you about back in 2015, right here in 2015. So this is the area. It's just the same, just like we had, let me zoom in a little bit. Just like we had recently, you had this nice little rise up, and then it just dropped. And then we had this capitulation, and then we bounced back up. And so we're doing actually something kind of similar, where we're coming back up, and we came up to that line that I was telling you about, that 150, and now maybe we're coming back down again. So we could be doing something like that. We could also just ignore this totally, and so we still had that capitulation, and now we're about to come up to this boom, this massive run up. That's just, and it's insane if you look at it. Like it's like from trough to peak, it's like 198 to 504. That's 2.5. That's 2.5x. If we did that right now, that would be, I don't know, it's not worth it. Really getting into prices because nobody knows that. It doesn't really matter. The price is not relevant. But let's say 2.5x, we ate that with 12,000. So it put us, that would be crazy. It would be like, that'd be insane. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if right now we went up to 12,000? That just blow people's minds. So it could go either way, and of course it's Bitcoin, so all bets are off. We don't know what's going to happen. I just bring this up because once we get over that 150 DMA, you got that sentiment shift. People get excited. There's going to be a dip and a crash. The question is when it will come, what price it will come at, and what price it will end at. And it may not even be that significant. So just keep that in mind. I'll make a private video for paid subscribers going in a little more in depth about what I'm talking about, specifically what it means for the plan. My plan for Bitcoin, it's the plan that I told you about. We're going to buy all the, it's the plan to make sure that we catch all the run up. Whatever happens here, we catch this whole run up to wherever it ends, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, whatever it is. We're going to catch all that. We're going to make sure that we sell before we hit the peak. And then we're going to buy the dips along the way. So this is kind of a pivotal moment. And I'll always keep you posted whenever there is a pivotal moment. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks so much for listening. I know, especially in this time when everybody's worried about the economy, maybe people who have been affected by coronavirus like I have. People who run businesses, they're going out of business. People have lost their jobs. People who, God forbid, have had health problems or even worse as a result of coronavirus. And it's really tempting to look at Bitcoin and look at the price rising and be like almost will it into that boom. And maybe that's not you, but there are a lot of people I think are really itching for Bitcoin to finally go up. And they want that move up. And they're like just kind of getting antsy for it. And they just want that excuse to start pouring money in and getting ahead of themselves. And the biggest thing we should avoid is getting ahead of ourselves. So I'll keep you posted on what I see. Right now, there's no action to take. We're just following the plan. These are just squiggles on a screen, just possibilities. It's all about kind of getting a sense of expectations of what I expect. Could be a big move up and then a crash down. Could be a big move up and then a crash down. Could be a crash down. Or it could just be it could just be a boom and then just not even a really big move up for Bitcoin and then just a little boom and then back down. But there's going to be that moment where there's a sell and people are going to start to kind of freak out again. So just look for it. It wouldn't be the worst thing to head back down to 5,800 or so, or even lower. Just kind of shake all those weak hands out, get those miners out. You don't care about Bitcoin, they're not holding and just whatever. Just kind of get things, just wring out the markets that you really get those true believers. But if that doesn't happen, you know what? That's fine too. There's nothing wrong with going up, right? So, or even if we meander along a little bit, maybe come back down here and maybe up, something like that. We'll just see how it goes. We'll wait and see. So don't get too worked either way. Life's hard. There's a lot of really crazy things going on right now and a lot of tragedies. Um, too many people right now. I just know too many people, and maybe you do too. So it's important to worry about the important things, yourself, your family, the things that are important to you. Stay subscribed, and I'll keep you posted on Bitcoin. Relax and enjoy the ride.